Hey, I'm here today with the world-famous Patriot Nurse. We've been having an interesting time this afternoon talking over ideas and prepping stuff. And some stuff came up that I kind of thought would be interesting to discuss with you on camera, because I don't think you've really done this in a video before.
Not quite in this format.
So no, not quite. So I'm going to play the interviewer here. I know I look just like Jay Leno. And one of the things that we were talking about is that you teach a very, very unique class. Nobody does anything quite like what you do in sort of the whole prepper, I don't know, gun guy kind of thing. It kind of overlaps into the little bit. And so just briefly, how would you describe what it is that you do?
That's a great question. I get this question a lot, actually. The curriculum that I teach, I call Medical Prep 101. That's the first day of the two-day component. The second day, appropriately named, is Medical Prep 201. In the 101 class, what I've done is I've formulated a curriculum that is easily digestible by a whole bunch of different people. It doesn't matter whether you're a nurse, whether you're a housewife, a firefighter, everyone can benefit from the class. And what I've done is it's not like your mom's first aid class, and it's not tactical medicine, but what it is a format, it's a way of thinking. It's a structure that I've created that allows people to come to the class, take my curriculum, come away with realistic steps that they can take, problem solving and approaching capability wherever they go, in case their family is having trouble, in case you're sick, in case they encounter diseases in disaster, and also in peacetime. Regardless of wherever they go, they are much better equipped to handle the medical.
So this really just isn't another one of the typical trauma medicine classes where you do an overview of tourniquets and the big three things that you need to keep people alive before the helicopters arrive and stuff like that.
Right.
I think a lot of people get the wrong idea about that, right?
Right, that's true. That's one of the things that I get asked about very frequently is, are we going to be doing decompression of tension pneumothorax? Are we going to be doing emergency tracheotomies and all the very glitzy stuff? And my answer is, well, no, really, because that is not what is most likely to be needed by people who find themselves in need of medical care. Let's use some data here to corroborate, what we're teaching. There are a lot of people who teach very, very good tactical medicine. I think there's definitely a place for that, but I definitely want to tailor my curriculum around what is most likely to happen based on the data, based on history, and based on observable experiences.
But okay, so not a trauma medicine class, and obviously not just another first aid class. Not what you'd get from the Red Cross.
No.
Very, very different than that.
Absolutely. There are a lot of people who teach excellent first aid classes. This is not one of them. I have an assumption with my students that if they're going to seek out my instruction, that they will probably be familiar with Red Cross first aid, which of course I endorse and recommend. My class is also not wilderness medicine. Wilderness medicine is its own thing. It is not disaster preparedness medicine. There are different fundamental assumptions about tactical medicine, first aid, which is what Red Cross first aid is, and also wilderness medicine. And my class, my curriculum is completely different than that.
So very kind of, I guess you'd say sort of prepper oriented. You don't have a doctor, you have circumstances to deal with, maybe a long-term situation. I guess the kind of thing is, okay, if you're somebody with that kind of mindset, are you teaching material we're actually going to use here?
That's a great question.
Or what?
That's a great question. So I get a lot of questions, okay, well, what is it exactly that you teach in the classes? Well, I tailored my curriculum based on what is most likely to kill people or hurt people or cause significant disease now. So my curriculum is based around the three most likely categories of disease or events that are likely to cause significant damage or to hurt people now, because it is reasonable for us to assume that human beings, being what we are, we haven't changed that much in X number of thousands of years, or however many you want to reckon that we've been around. So the things that have killed us historically really haven't changed that much either. So I developed the curriculum to tailor the students' learning experience around what is the most likely to cause disease and death to my family, what are the ways that I can figure out what it is, and what do I do about it to help them recover, to get better, and how do I prevent it from happening again. So basically you're formulating a plan of care. And there's nobody else out there who's doing what I'm doing, which is taking people from all different ends of the spectrum, given the data that we've looked at and appraised our most likely scenarios, put them in that circumstance, made them create a plan of care after thoroughly assessing the problem. So it's usable in a disaster, and it's certainly usable now in everyday life.
Now, one of the things we talked about that I found fascinating too, I don't think people know this about you, you are not just some nurse who's operating in a city hospital somewhere where everything's squeaky clean. That's not your background. You've been around the world. You've been in places with missions or relief efforts and things like that, where you, as an American nurse, you are actually the most qualified person on the scene, and you're seeing these kinds of things that are quote-unquote prepper scenario type of things.
Yeah.
What happens with unclean water? What happens when people are getting all these common diseases like typhoid, dysentery, things like that? So that is where you get a lot of the basis of the material that you teach. It's not just a textbook thing, right?
Absolutely. I get a question, again, a frequently asked questions. I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, or I have a nurse, a doctor, an EMT in my group. Why should I come and take your class? And I like to answer that question with another question, and it's this. Okay. Have the people in your group, designated as medics, have they practiced outside of the United States? If so, how long? Are we talking a 1 week, once in a lifetime effort that was orchestrated, although very well meaning, that was orchestrated by predominantly Americans who have sanitized the mission to American standards before going down there? Or are we talking people who have gone in very destitute and dark areas of the world, functioned outside of the standard of care, the scope of practice, and the protocol of practice in the United States? And you'll find that even of those people who would call themselves preppers or survivalists, or those who are even just forward thinking, who would classify themselves in that circumstance, but who are also healthcare professionals, very, very few of them have actually practiced outside of the United States for any length of time.
And you have. I mean, we
have.
had that conversation.
I have. And I've been to multiple different countries. I've been in 4 different countries in Southeast Asia, country in the Caribbean, a country I'm not allowed to say for security reasons. There's a lot of scope that's informing where I arrived at the threat level from. But again, it's not enough just for me to sit here and tell you, okay, I know the way, this is the way it is, this is how things are going to be. I have to have data to corroborate what I'm teaching people in order to have instructor accountability. And so the curriculum that I developed is based on data. It is based on my own experiences and my own projections as to what we'll be facing in the years to come.
Well, I'll tell you, these are the kinds of things that when we were talking today, I was undecided as to whether I was going to take the class or whether it would be something of value to me. So I'm going to be taking the class tomorrow, and I'll probably be following up with an AAR in the next couple of weeks on the Patriot Nurses class. But I thought it would be useful for people to have this kind of perspective. And thanks for taking the time to sit down with me and discuss it.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
All right, looking forward.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.